Hello and welcome to the Viking Home Companion in a new episode from the good old days. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away. In fact, we're talking about the Principality of the Mists, Kingdom of the West. And the Mists, of course, is the birthplace of the Society for Creative Anachronism. It's often called the Cradle of Kingdoms. At any rate, today's story takes place there during an annual war, actually a biannual war, held between the Principality of the Mists and the Principality of Sinagua. Yes, we have a war twice a year just for the fun of it. But then again, we're talking about the Society for Creative Anachronism. Any excuse for a war. So this war took place at Coast Guard Station up on the coast of Sonoma County, and I was fighting with the Principality of Sinagua, even though I lived in the Mists. We often referred to people that lived in the Mists but participated in Sinagua as misplaced Sinaguans. And I certainly fit that bill. My household was Sinaguan, my consort was Sinaguan, and at the time that this particular story takes place, I was also the Bard of Sinagua, a position I held twice. Now, it may seem that that's a little odd, but I had given an oath to both the coronets of Mists and Sinagua that so long as I participated in Sinagua, that I would not compete in coronet or Bard of the Mists competitions. I would compete exclusively in Sinagua, and I held to that. So at any rate, getting back to the story, we're at a Mist-Sinagua war at Coast Guard Station, and during one of the open field battles, I had gotten permission from the princes to call someone out, basically. I was fighting with Great Axe, and a friend of mine, Eric, I believe his full SCA name is Eric Johann Meyer, but I could be wrong remembering that part, because after this particular war, I started referring to him as Eric Bloodaxe, which is, of course, also a reference to Eric of Norway. But at any rate, I got permission from their highnesses to call Eric out. Eric was fighting with a great sword, and I was fighting with Great Axe. And as the two sides lined up for the open field battle, I got about a dozen paces out in front of Sinagua, and I bellowed out Eric's name, demanding that he come out to face me in battle. And he, of course, yelled back, I yelled, Eric! And he yelled, Torvald! And the two of us ran at each other, and we met in the middle of the field and just started wailing away at each other with our great weapons. And to my recollection, I believe we ended up with a double kill. Now, the signal for the battle to start between the two sides was when either one of us died, and we both essentially died at the same time. But the image of the two Norsemen running out to do battle in the middle of the two armies, just like a couple of berserks running ahead of the forces, really inspired me. And even though there was more battle going on, I got off the field as soon as I could, went back to my camp setup, grabbed my pencil, grabbed some paper, sat down, and in a span of about 10 minutes, wrote out a poem that I'm about to share with you. And as soon as I finished the poem, I went looking for Eric. But before Eric, I went and found the Princess of the Mists. Now, His Highness of the Mists was very busy, but I went and I got a hold of Her Highness Marin, and then we called Eric over, and I performed this poem in front of both of them there, right on the edge of the battlefield, within a half an hour of when the battle had actually taken place. So here is the piece. I'm going to perform it for you. And it's known as the Erickvida. The men of Two Hawks take the hill, look down upon their sundered swan kin. Logan turns his face to the wind to search for William's bright band. Two they were on field of the dead, two lost not found by living men. Cold men from across the blue land, none colder than Eric Bloodaxe. High raised the wound wolf in hunger, never sated with swan's heart ray. Two they were on field of the dead, two lost not found by living men. Forth in challenge he strides the first, seeking for the dance of iron. Torvald, scald of the dark claw's hold, shoulders through to meet him in pain. Two they were on field of the dead, two lost not found by living men. Bold in its thirst the Torvald's bane, striking with a snarl filled with rage. Turned aside by Hiltwand in its wrath, Torvald strikes the one-eye's fury. Two they were on field of the dead, two lost not found by living men. Seek not on the field for the Dane, nor for the one who stood against him. Tonight they stand in Odin's hall, drinking deep the Valkyrie's song. Two they were on field of the dead, two lost not found by living men. Eric, I don't know where you are or what you're doing now. I lost track of you a long time ago. But now I have set our story down for everyone to hear. Yeah, sure, you betcha.